We merged, didn't we?
It was a lengthy process, wasn't it?
Yeah, we thought it would probably take 3 to 6 months max. I think it took about almost a whole year. Cool. Yeah, well, welcome to D2C Diaries with me, Lucas.
And me, Ollie.
Yeah. So this is our first episode. We did try and actually record this once before, but it didn't go so well. So we're now leveling up the production a little bit to try and do it properly and do it right. But yeah, this podcast is for us all about the kind of essence of D2C, providing as tangible value insights into creative strategy, performance at all ends of the funnel, and I think across our three agencies we have huge amounts of data and insights that we can provide there. But I guess let's just start with like a bit of an intro into who we are, why you should be listening to us, and we'll go into then a little bit more about the agenda.
Yeah, I'm Ollie Hudson, the surname out. I'm founder of Soar With Us. That's the first business that me and Lucas are kind of involved in together. Founded it around 4.5 years ago now. Performance agency initially. Been growing it with co-founder Joe, who I'm sure we'll bring on at some point. Building it over the last 4 years. Recently merged with Lucas's Hamby Media, which we'll get onto. Then alongside that, also CMO of Jack Group, which is a e-commerce group of 3 brands. The Essence Vault being the biggest one of those. Growing that currently around, probably going to do about 50 million for the group this year.
Crazy.
So growing pretty fast and expanding like the agencies.
And the other agency as well.
And For You.
Too many businesses, you forget.
Shut up. And For You Advertising, which is another business that myself and Lucas are involved in, which is our TikTok performance agency. We say they're the UK's leading TikTok performance agency.
Yeah, well, the first to be, partnered, officially with TikTok themselves.
Accredited is the word, I think. Accredited.
Yes. Apologies. I'm Lucas, founder, as Ollie said, of Hamby Media. We're a performance creative agency focused on meta, predominantly high production ads, UGC and static design. So we've got a production team in-house and a design team in-house, and obviously full strategy team as well. And then co-founder of For You Advertising, as Ollie mentioned. So yeah, I guess like just in terms of how the agenda for these will look, I'm sure it's going to evolve over time, but we want to make this more conversational, not rigid. Really, we've obviously got a great network of D2C founders that we're going to be bringing on as well, and then do some more conversational episodes, and also just answering questions online. So we get loads of different questions on our social channels. So we're going to be trying to cover as many of those and just be as like transparent as possible at all times, really, and give as much away, because I think one of my biggest pet peeves with the whole kind of marketing ecosystem is so much of it is surface level because people are scared to give away actual tangible value. And who have we got coming up as guests?
First person's going to be Simo from your side, isn't it?
Yes.
I think we're going to have Nick from 47 Skin. They're one of the UK's leading skincare brands, growing really, really rapidly at the moment. Connor from the Essence Vault, founder of Jack Group, that obviously I work very closely with. Lawrence, Mothership, e-commerce brand group, 7 brands, growing very quickly, just recently acquired another couple. So yeah, a lot of people who have got a wealth of experience, who are executing at a very high level and who are growing big businesses, I think is the main goal.
Yeah, so I guess just diving in then, let's just start just contextualising, laying the foundations before we get into some deeper stuff. But like, we merged, didn't we? A bit of a mountain to climb, shall we say?
Yeah, it took us a while to get there. And doing similar to this podcast, I think we tried to record it 3 months ago, just after the fact that we'd merged, so it was a bit more fresh then. And then we didn't actually put the episode out because it wasn't that. I don't think it went that smoothly. I think we obviously acquired Hamby Media into a group structure, which is the goal moving forward, is building continuing to build like a group of portfolio companies within the e-commerce space. It was a lengthy process, wasn't it?
Yeah, we thought it would probably take 3 to 6 months max. I think it took about almost a whole year. And I've learned a lot about lawyers during that process. Pay for the better ones because
yeah, half our lawyers spent a lot of time correcting
our lawyer.
Your lawyer's mistakes.
Exactly. Buy cheap, buy twice, as they say. But it's funny, because we come from a service. We're service providers, and having really good client satisfaction and delivery of service is so important for us and what we do. So it was interesting to see just how different that was working with lawyers specifically.
So slow. But we got there.
We got there, yeah.
6 months from doing it, and then finally wrapped it up in January ish.
What advice do you have for whether they're agencies, D2C, brands, on either acquiring another business or actually selling your business from the experience we've gone through?
I'll do acquiring, you can do selling. It makes more sense.
Cool. Yeah, obviously.
I've not sold anything. I think it starts with the people and the culture first when trying to buy. I think that's the only reason that's the reason we entertained it in the first place, wasn't it? We were friends and partners first. Like, we were sending so much work back and forth between ourselves, and it was often the case that when we were doing that, we were getting the better results for people and servicing people at a higher level and building those like hero case studies. So I think like if you are looking to acquire business, it's in a service-based industry. If you're looking to roll up agencies, it's about finding someone who's a culture fit, where you can find like a real complementary strength to what you're doing, but also probably someone who wants support in areas that they either don't want to spend as much time on or feel like they're weaker in. So that could be like operations, hiring. It's like finding a founder who you can sell the bigger vision to, who has that fit from a personality perspective, but also is aware that they benefit and probably grow faster and enjoy what they do more if they had more support around them.
Yeah.
And obviously you need to look for a business that has significant upside and you can grow fairly quickly, which obviously we've been able to do since bringing the group together. Yeah,
obviously it made sense from the perspective of where the market is going with performance creative and how fundamental that is as part of performance nowadays. What else, I guess when diving into my business, were you looking at there, I guess from a numbers perspective or other areas? I know from my side, like getting SOPs, operations in order was really, really important when selling. But what about from the buying side?
I think it was very much strategic for, like you say, for us, like buying a creative agency. Like I think the last 5 years of direct to consumer, until maybe when I'd say like the last 18 months, like I feel like the concept of a creative strategist wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
And we're trying to hire someone for the Jack group right now to take our internal creative process on and help us unlock like net new audiences through persona diversification and things. And it's so hard because they've only been a thing in performance for probably 2 years. And that I feel like that's also like, you've seen that trend, like creative has become such a massive part of growing brands and growing businesses over the last 2 years. And I think like really we've really built all of our like service around that. So yeah, it was strategic from that perspective, finding something that would allow us to kind of continue to build on that. But then like operations, strong foundations, like organized, repeatable processes where you're delivering really strong service, really strong like team, like some really key A players in the business already, and then making good profit margin. Obviously.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think that kind of, obviously we had our culture pillars, you had yours, and they were very similar, which I think is really, really important to kind of build those synergies in. And to be honest, like from my side as a buyer, like as a seller, I would never have sold a portion of my business if it wasn't to people that I really trusted, because obviously I still retain a decent amount of equity anyway, and I just wouldn't have ever sold the business if it wasn't to you guys, most probably, because I think we tried and tested scaling an agency, you know, to 20 members of staff, 7-figure run rates within kind of 18 months with few advertising, and I know I always got the autonomy to do what I needed to do, which fit within my expertise, and I think that was a big thing for me, that there was that synergy between the founders, you know, so we can continue growing.
Still early in that process as well. I feel like the growth speaks for itself. Like it's been
it's been a mental year.
Also, when you pull resources together at that sort of larger scale, it allows you to take advantage of bigger opportunities. It allows you to hire senior talent. That's been a real big learning that I know we've discussed internally over the last few months, is like, as you start, whenever we've hired someone like at a senior level, it's always felt like a bit of a realization of like, we should have done that 3 months earlier. Yeah. Should have done that 6 months earlier. But now we're fortunate enough that we're at a scale where we can be more aggressive with those decisions.
I think that's the thing, like, and obviously this depends on runway, but I think that's why runway is so important, because it means you can make those strategic decisions earlier rather than when you really need to. Because I think throughout the last 4 or 5 years, that's what we've always struggled to do, like bringing in new members of staff at the right times without it affecting deal flow. And you know, we hadn't quite cracked that. But I think, again, obviously another big thing that we've done this year across the group is we've rebuilt our whole org structure. But I'm now already thinking about what that next org structure looks like to facilitate the next level of growth. So, you know, you always need to be thinking 12, 24 months ahead almost as part of that.
Yeah, definitely. We've just gone through a really big inflection point, haven't we, with people moving into like C-level positions,
head of department roles that weren't there before.
So it's a balance of like, a lot of those people are moving out of like direct revenue generating activities in an agency. Obviously, I don't want to stay on agencies for too long, but they're obviously changing from like servicing a client or servicing multiple clients to more of like a management ops position. It's like that obviously changes the financial makeup of the organization, but those are the people who have like, you want to be in those positions of like real high leverage, who can really drive the business forward. Yeah, you've got to be looking forward. Even like big complexity is like reporting, lanes, managing people, like the bandwidth to manage people well, like
especially when we're young,
5 people,
we're just young companies which, you know, don't have many people above the age of early 30s, which is crazy. And I think you know, we've learned to manage from just doing it. We never got training on it, maybe read a couple of books, but I think again it's investing more heavily now into upskilling externally in terms of leadership management, to ensure we're doing that right. Obviously we've rebuilt our whole structures for building progression roadmaps. That actually, you know, in terms of any business, I don't want to jump around, but that has been a massive learning for me this year in 2024, like the need for connecting, whether you're a D2C brand, an agency, the need for connecting an individual's motivations to the motivations of the company, and how that can kind of come together to mean that they're continually motivated to progress and grow within their roles. I think when we've had employees churn, it's because they haven't, you know, not solely this reason, but they haven't had clear line of sight of where their role is progressing to and how they can get there. So again, you know, really spending that time working with those that you manage on, okay, what are those opportunities to progress? Where are they best suited? What are they best at? Which areas do we need to improve them to get them there, and making sure that there is alignment on what that trajectory looks like.
Yeah, I think that HR process we built, which starts with like culture pillars and is very like two-way, like very personal development for them. Like they identify their goals and where they want to go, but then we hold them accountable to what we need from them. We've put that in place in like 5 businesses, I think, now, and everyone it's been like massively transformational.
Yeah.
I think it gives people clarity as well. I feel like as the company's got bigger, naturally there's more comparison points for people who are progressing at a faster rate than others, and it's like we obviously built that with like a scoring system, which feels a bit weird when you're reviewing someone as an individual to give them a number rating.
Yeah.
But I feel like that works so well.
Yeah,
it removes the subjectivity.
It needs to become more quant, because then it's very black and white. You know, why maybe someone else is progressing faster than you, so it takes the subjectivity out of it completely. So from a D2C perspective then, with, we work across the 3 agencies, we work with 150 brands, around that, something like that. What are we doing differently this year? Maybe start on a performance and I can go into creative.
I think what I mentioned, those two things are kind of similar, aren't
they?
It's hard to say. That's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah,
that's
true.
The biggest thing is like
the two.
What I was saying earlier. Last 5 years has been, you can grow a brand through being great at media buying. I think the next 5 years, the brands that are the unicorn brands, like the Athletics Greens, the brands that are going to get to like billion valuation, are the ones that their core competency is content creation across every medium. Like, we obviously specialize in just paid, but I think you could do it on YouTube, organic, so many platforms. Just the ability to tell a story and the ability to like convey a message really well in creative. So the main thing in performance is bringing those two things even closer together and treating it as a creative driven performance rather than just performance marketing. On top of that, I think the market's shifted so much in terms of like how you should run a D2C brand and how you should grow a D2C brand in terms of like sustainable, profitable growth, rather than just this ability to grow top line revenue with the idea that you're eventually going to get profitable further down the line, like because you've raised loads of VC money or you've got this ability to constantly go and raise more funding. So I think like really helping clients get clear on like what success looks like, down to like a profitability EBITDA number, not just, or a contribution margin number if you want to use that instead, right down to like every new customer we acquire, based on how much we pay for them, what does that translate to in actual profitability, and how does that layer up with repeat customers to like total revenue. We're putting all of our focus on those things, like financials, forecasting, KPIs, and then creative based performance. Yeah. But then obviously there's a lot more in the creative
I think like
aspects.
One thing, and this is still something we're working heavily on, but a massive focus point for us has been building ground up, very much more in-depth approach to creative strategy. Really segmenting lots of different variables, and building a strategic dashboard that almost gives us a roadmap for how that's going to look from the testing perspective. So looking at funnel position, performance funnel I'm more speaking of. So, problem aware, solution aware, product aware, or most aware. I think we're not talking about the broader marketing funnel. Then, even down to content type. So how are we going to split based on what the data is telling us? Personas, angles, and then something that we're obviously talking more about is much more customer research, to better understand your customers, to better know how to segment personas, and more thoughtful messaging is all really, really important. And then how that ties in alongside, how is that being run by the media buyers? Because I think a big bottleneck that we had run into was, okay, the creative team have a strategy here, the performance team have a strategy here, and then but then the media, once we pass that over, there's a disconnect there. So it's about kind of cohesive strategy that works across both departments, and then how we are measuring success through those strategic plans that come once we've delivered those assets, before we go into iterating, before we go into net new assets for that next batch.
I think that strategic approach is key. I think if you have a really, really strong strategic approach to creative, it's going to make all of the difference. The brand that I've been referencing recently that are doing all of those things, like top 1% incredibly well right now is Loop earplugs.
Yeah, they're killing it.
You've bought some, haven't you?
Yeah,
Like
they're killing it. 3
doing-
times actually, because I've lost 2 out of 3.
and they don't come with an AirPod tracker either, so you can't.
Yeah, smart. That is smart.
But I was looking through their. Well, I went to the Meta. Jamie went to the Meta Summit, our head of acquisition, and one of the Meta reps told him they're doing about 120 million a year in revenue. 90% of their marketing budget goes through Meta conversion campaigns, and if you look through their ad library, it's a masterclass in like persona-driven, angle-driven messaging. So they'll have like concert goer, they'll have like 5 different variations of the same ad, different headline, complete, and then they'll have.
And it
light
feels
sleeper.
so native and organic as well.
Yeah, then they'll have like light sleeper, and then they'll have B2B business
ADHD.
goer for focus, ADHD, and it's like such a. And if you go through and then you click on the landing page, you can literally. I might be able to put a Miro board like here somewhere on the screen that Andrew's here. Andrew's building at the moment. I keep knocking my mic. Andrew's building at the moment on our side of like the funnel map, because it's like perfect message, go onto the landing page, headline on the landing page, same imagery, same message, and it's like a masterclass in like persona driven performance marketing.
Yeah, we were talking about this, weren't we, especially with like Tev, to unlock that next level of growth. Like you need to become so much more specific and intentional about those personas, and very, very specific.
You need to, I think I was, again, off the back of that, we had a conversation around like there's stages of growth for D2C brands on Facebook. It's like 0 to 1. Let's find 1 to 2 personas that work, and let's just iterate on that message over and over again. You've got like
even just angles generally.
Yeah, angles generally. Then you've got like 1 to 5, which is like a bit more broad, but still within like your core demo. So maybe you're selling to women between 25 and 45.
You found those winning
3 or
angles.
4 different pain points or angles, and you're able to package them up in loads of different ways, and that can take you to. For Tev, it's like how long the fragrance lasts, how close it is to the original, how much money you can save, like designer tax, like brand tax. Like we've got 4 or 5 things that have got us here, but then to go from like there to like the next level of scale, it takes a different setup in the account, because you need to focus on like really analysing your exposure to different angles, your exposure to different ethnicities, accents, age groups, and like really be intentional around creating creative that then delivers to new people. So older people are what we're focusing on at the moment. Like, how do we deliver more ads to people above the age of 45?
And how important is like that post-click landing page and that full funnel if it is a product that isn't, you know, more problem solution focused? Like, I guess, you know, Tev is in a sense, but it's, you know, a Loop earplugs, a skincare brand that cures acne.
Yeah.
You know, how does that differ from that perspective?
I think a key part of like being a really good growth marketer is prioritization, and like some brands should prioritize that continuity of landing page and creative more than others. So like if you're selling t-shirts, like you can send people to a PDP. It's probably not gonna changing the headline of that PDP is probably not going to change, or product page isn't going to have a massive impact.
Yeah,
I think it matters more where you've got like more education to do, where you're like you've got a lot to convey in an ad. You're not going to get it all across, and there's a likelihood that individual will have either more like need for more knowledge, or they'll have some objections that might have come up, and you need to like walk them through it in more detail.
Yeah, and that again comes back to what we were saying about how you split the performance funnel, because again, like when we're working with brands now, we're asking so many questions. How problem aware is this audience about this? You know, an example is like a Liquid London, a pheromone fragrance. You know, I mean, maybe that's not the best example, but there's more educating, I guess, to do about what it actually is and what it does. Whereas, you know, a Tev, so much brand equity, people know exactly what it is. It's inspired by fragrances at a fraction of the price. You know, you can afford to go more product aware, solution aware, rather than, you know, having to educate more and putting more percentage of your creative towards a little bit higher up in the funnel.
It's that difference between like demand creation and demand capture. Like demand creation is a hard thing to do. So like, and you see it in a lot of niches, you often get like this hero brand that does the demand creation. So an example of that recently, I think, has been Zoe Gut Health. They spent a shitload of money on Tim Spector and like all of those top of funnel activities to educate people around the fact that gut health was a serious thing you should think about. And then you've got like, so they're creating this demand, they're creating this awareness of the problem, and then there's about 15 copycat brands that spring up overnight, package it up in a different way, and then scale behind that demand and just capture it.
You see it all the time. It's like
Athletics Greens is another one.
Yeah.
Then Freesoul did
Exactly.
greens. It's like Huel have done greens.
When these initial brands, they're investing in the education, and then once it's there, another one I'm looking at, which I think is quite an interesting space, which I still think there's so much education to come, but is filtered shower heads and how damaging that is for your skin and hair. I think like in 5 years time, no one will be using a shower head that isn't filtered, but you're seeing these kind of brands coming through that are almost investing so heavily in that education piece, and then you're going to see so many copycat brands pop up over the next few years.
I think the often the demand creation is often more difficult, I think, because the education by default takes more time and touch points. So that's where, if someone's seen a load of Athletics Greens ads and they've gone through their landing pages of why greens are good for you, they've got all of that objection handling out of the way, then Huel serves them an ad and it's just like, we taste better, we've got better macronutrients. They might buy straight away off that ad, but they've not spent as much time on that customer. You can make a lot of money in direct to consumer by just getting into a niche where there's a big brand driving that. Tev's another one. Tev's an example. So many copycats driving that awareness, and you just capture a bit of the market by branding up in a different way.
I think another way that's low cost to help drive that education is theme pages, which obviously
you're ripping that now.
So I won't say what the brand is on this right now, but launching a brand soon, and we literally start this theme page around the topic, which is basically just other people's content, giving them full credit for that content, driving people to their channels, but repurposing their content on the community page channel, educating about these subjects, only hashtagging around these exact topics and subjects, because you've got to look at it like a search engine. If you're consistent with your keywords, key phrases on all parts of that, whether that be hashtags, text on screen, the same words being used in your bio of your page, you're going to rank much higher around those search terms on socials. So that page is like ridiculous, grown. I think it's like 102k followers now in like 4 months, and the videos are getting like 40-50k views a video, and we're posting every day. It's like mental reach.
So nuts. I can't get a lot on Tev's Instagram yet. It's golden time to do that for Reels as well. I feel like you've got 12 months of that, then you won't be able to do it anymore. Not to that,
exactly.
It'll be an absolute grind
so true.
After that point. So true.
It's like you're seeing these faceless accounts now that are just pushing products through TikTok Shop. But it's like, I love it, because all of these, honestly, it's just like, because all of these platforms are fighting who can give more reach through short form video. You've got TikTok, YouTube Shorts, obviously Instagram Reels. LinkedIn now is a massive one that are really pushing short form reach, and Twitter as well. Like they're all like competing for who can drive the most reach and engagement, and for us on the other side, it's just beautiful to sit back and be part of the journey.
If you thought we were cringy on LinkedIn, wait until we get those shorts going.
I know.
They're all the other thing that they're doing. I think YouTube's is an interesting one with shorts, because shorts is terrible. If you used it, it's awful. Just terrible content, but quite a lot of people I know who use it, and they've also bringing out an affiliate platform. But YouTube is so
they tried it once before, didn't they? But it didn't work.
I think so, but I feel like it's more like, I feel like that can often happen, is like you make a great product but it's the wrong time. Especially in online and tech, like you can come out with an amazing product, but if you just did it 5 years later, society wasn't ready for it. I feel like now that TikTok have done a load of it, it's easier to do. YouTube's, I feel like the affiliates on YouTube can drive so much more revenue. They've got the audience on there is so much more engaged than TikTok.
Like average watch times.
I know quite a few. Ridge Wallet recently partnered with a guy called Marquez Brownlee. I think.
Oh yeah,
called.
I know him. Yeah.
It's
Marcus
like-
Brownlee. Is he American football player?
No, I might have got the name wrong. He's a tech reviewer, but he's
Oh.
like really. you uncultured swine. I might have got his name wrong, but they brought him on as like chief content officer. I think Sean from Ridgewallet, and he's got like crazy power to generate revenue. And I think I saw him do a video on that AI clip, and it like just either tanked. It was someone who tanked the stock price of the product because he'd done this like horrible review. I think of
just shorting.
It's just like so much power in affiliates. It'd be interesting to see how that kind of develops.
Yeah,
it works on TikTok.
Yeah, that I guess takes us on to like the whole creator-led brand model.
Yeah.
I think again this is an interesting space. Obviously, you see the big ones like the Mr. Beast, the Primes that have absolutely killed it. But I'm seeing more and more. I've seen probably in the last 2 weeks 5 or 6 celebrities or people big influencers that have done the same thing and executed it really poorly. Do you think it's going to be a similar thing that happened with like influencer marketing, where that was such a big thing, but then actually people started to see through it because everyone would sell anything that what didn't actually have a meaningful connection to them or that authenticity?
Yeah, I think it's definitely the next big trend, because like people say data is a commodity, but attention is the commodity. Like getting people's attention either costs a lot of money because you have to pay for it on Facebook or you have to pay for it on TikTok, or a lot of time like your reels. But if you go to someone who's already captured a massive level of awareness through like years of work, like they're building a product around that and marketing into that is such like a kickstart to just crazy growth.
Yeah, attention is the biggest currency in life
and
in everything.
Because everyone's attention is getting everyone's attention span is getting shorter, and they're seeing more and more content, more and more products. So I think like that's why I think creators is such a big opportunity, because you go into someone who's captured it, who's done the hard work, you can really grow into it, and it catapults that and just makes everything easier. And
I think it has to be that really relevant link there though, to using that creator.
I feel like there's some really good examples of it done well. Chris Williams' Nootropic
or something. Nootronic.
That drink's great, fits his audience, really well put together. You've got like Jocko Willick's got a canned drink. You've got On It for Joe Rogan. You've got like, to give a few, Chamberlain Coffee, which is like one of the best executed D2C brands. But then you have also got some horror stories. So
messy one.
The messy Prime drink's interesting because it's just a very big rip of Prime. I'm trying to think.
And also, like, I feel like there's almost a level of how famous you can be to actually do something like this. Well. Because I look at a messy drink and I think he's got nothing to do with this brand at all. He's just kind of taken the paycheck, taken the equity. Like for me, the ones, and I know that gut health influencer with Jimmy, they've started that gut health brand recently, but that for me looked like such an authentic connection, because she's a kind of, I forgot what,
like a microbiome science, like
something like that.
Almost,
but her socials are all about gut health, food for your gut health. She's been doing that for years, like, not there to make money. It's something that is a passion and interest to her. So approaching someone like that has never put their name to a product before, who really is an expert in that field and has a following that is very engaged around a certain topic, that's the way you do it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a risk if you don't do that, because you only can lose people's trust once. If you make something fairly crap and sell it to them, they're never going to buy anything for you again. They may never watch you again. They just lose that element of like buy into the person as a brand. So you can undo all of the hard work they've done building an authentic audience in like one decision. I imagine a lot of the ones that you see that are done poorly are done through people in their like entourage, or like people in the net like close to them being like, you should do this, like getting a share in it and just pushing it forward, and them, like you say, them probably not being that involved in the process. And when it's the other way, like Grace Beverley is probably one of the best for that. I feel like.
I mean,
I
feel like she actually started that brand herself, didn't she?
Tyler. I think, yeah, she did.
Like that is, she literally is the CEO of that brand.
Yeah, that's what I mean. She's done it so well. Then she did Shreddy with a partner, which was another one. But I think she bought.
They just did a collab with Pure Sport.
Yeah, I think she ended up buying the partner out of that one. I think so. Now I think she fully owns that as well.
Yeah,
but
she's a killer.
Yeah, just doing it so well.
Yeah.
I think she did another one. She did a productivity method with the same partner.
Yeah, I did see that, like productivity.
But they're all tied to, like, she was a fitness influencer. She went to Oxford.
Yeah.
Like the first two are fitness, clothing, and nutrition, and the third one's productivity because she puts so much content out about how she structures her days and people love it. So
it's a mad story that, like, how she grew that YouTube following, was posting every single day whilst doing a master's at doing a degree at Oxford.
Yeah, nuts.
It's fucking crazy, and completed it. I'm pretty sure she got off first.
Yeah, she did. I think the other side of, so that's like creators launching brands. I think the Ridge example is the other way that I feel like brands will start to bring creators in. See, I think there's a couple of examples. That's one. I'm trying to think of the other one off the top of my head. It's not very good. I've forgotten. There's like, I'll put it up on screen again. There's examples of like brands that have got to a much later stage and they've brought creators in to be like hero influencers and like
Bionic have done that quite well with that. It's Chris. Is that also no? It's with I've forgotten his name. But they've done that.
Diego Dalot from Portugal. He's a big advocate there.
Yeah.
Bionic are a gut health customized supplement, not gut health, customized supplement brand, but like very like high level sports science. But I think that's another thing that people are doing, bringing in these big names to like then take things onto that next level.
Yeah, and a lot of the time it's like finding people, like and this is the difficult thing, it's people that actually you've seen them using the product, and then that's where you pounce.
Yeah, you have to. Influencers as a whole is a minefield because you can spend some serious cash on an influencer.
Yeah, there's a lot you've got to look into, because there's a lot of people that charge ridiculous prices, but actually they don't have. There's a big difference between having a big following and a big community.
Yeah,
I think that engagement is so important and so key. Like, you see, there's some really big TikTokers, but they're doing trending sounds. It's very rare that they break that barrier down and it's them talking to camera to their audience, engaging with their community. You need to look at some of those metrics on social to make sure there is true engagement there and from an actual community.
We're looking to do, I think, I've got a good example of this at the moment. We're looking to do some influencer activations for one of our brands within the run club niche, because they're booming at the moment. Yeah, I feel like you want to capture these influencers that are on like that fast growth trajectory, and there's like a few London-based female run club influencers that are just absolutely flying. Like every reel will get 300,000 views. They don't sell much, and when they do, it's very like related to what they're doing, the training, and it's very authentic. And so we're going to give that a go. I don't know if it'll work, but if I'm hoping it does. So
I want someone to create a SaaS for run clubs to just centralize everything, because there's so many of them out there now, and I almost just need like a yellow pages for run clubs that is like explains exactly which run club is for what person, what the pros, what are the cons. I don't know if you'll make any money, but who's sponsoring it? Because I wanted to go to one a few weeks ago, but it was just like a minefield of just didn't even know where to begin. But yeah, we go off topic. I did just want to mention this point. I know you said remove this because it's your fault. Transparency. But sustainability, we're looking at some of the trends for this year, 2024, and a lot of them are waffle, to be honest. But I found this one interesting because we're actually not seeing this at all through the data, of the ads that we're running, but around sustainability and kind of ethical e-commerce practices. So I'm going to read this out here, which was from an article. There's an increase in consumer demand for sustainable and ethical e-commerce practices. This includes adopting environmentally friendly practices and ensuring fair working conditions in the supply chain. and just green e-commerce, I guess. I think what's funny from this perspective is I could name 5, 6, 7 brands that we have really tried to do sustainable focused angles that have, vegan products, cruelty free, all of these things, and I've never actually seen a winning creative using a sustainable focused angle.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's now it's an expectation, not a USP.
Yeah,
like consumers expect that to be like a given for brands, and you can use it as like an objection handling piece. But if you try and frame a full campaign or ad around the fact that your toothbrush is made of bamboo and not plastic, it's like, well, it's just so like done, and like it doesn't resonate to the same depth as, I think if you go back like 7 or 8 years, it was like very,
I think it has to be your core. There are some brands that are doing it well, where it's your core mission. Like it's literally got to start from the top. Like that is your reason why. Like Surrey is a good one, the toothbrush brand. Most of their messaging is around the sustainability. Like if you look at their ads library, I'd say 70-80% of their ads are with that as a massive focus point. But that again was the reason why that brand was started. It was authentically because of one of these one chart companies where you see the stats about the plastic waste from your toothbrushes, and that this is something that just hasn't changed for hundreds of years.
I think there's another flip on where I think people are identifying a trend and doing it well is in people who are going to these like P&G brands, so like toothpaste, Tallow and Ash, someone we worked with, did really well with. They went for detergent. If you look at like P&G, what's the other one? Unilever. They've got to huge scale, and they sell so much of their product, but by default they're incentivized to drive margin by bringing the cost of production down consistently, especially as inflation goes up. They're either making the product smaller, they're making the quality of the ingredients better, and I feel like there's a big subset of consumers now who would very happily pay a lot more for a much like stronger product. So there's Tallow and Ash is the example I use. There's one called Zing toothpaste, which I've met the founder of, and I use that, which is just a toothpaste without all the crap in it, basically. I feel like there's quite a lot of brands who are taking on those like commoditized products, but just really elevating the execution and the ingredients and the packaging. Yeah,
you're even seeing it with like pickles and gherkins, because it's like it comes back to that thing of you
love eating pickles out the jar.
Yeah, we live for context, we lived together for about a year and a half, and I just fucking love pickles. So there would always just be empty pickle jars just sitting in the fridge.
So grim.
But yeah, I mean, it's hot girl snacks, is it?
Yeah.
But
they're charging like 40 quid for a jar of pickles, though.
Really, I can't see how the economics of a D2C pickle brand would work. Especially just imagine just postage alone.
Yeah, it's not easy. Anything
like
glass.
Thick glass jars of pickles.
I have so much respect for anyone who does food, FMG in general.
But I think that comes back to this whole thing of like a lot of brands nowadays. Now you obviously get your exceptions, but I do think a lot of brands nowadays, obviously they talk about unique selling points, but a lot of their competitors have the exact same unique selling points. So actually it's not USP, it's UMP, unique marketing point. Came up with that on the spot. But do you know what I mean? It's like, well, how do you differentiate through your marketing and your messaging? That a lot of the time is actually what the difference is.
Yeah, and a lot of that can be like offer, price point. Like it doesn't have to just be the product. If it's, you can't just make up a new frame and the brand itself. So, but yeah, I've definitely seen that as well.
It's like Oreo. I'm pretty sure there was like a brand that actually was the Oreo about 10 years. Around for about 10 years before Oreo was ever a thing, but they just ripped it and then just killed it with the marketing.
Do you want to talk quickly about we've just talked Unilever and
good point. It's a good segue.
Good segue into the recent.
Yeah, okay. So this is actually interesting. So we've actually just started working with Fussy on TikTok, but interesting point from Matt Kennedy, who's the founder, lovely guy, and obviously the Fussy, which is the natural deodorant brand, they went on Dragon's Den as well. He put out a LinkedIn post saying hands and armpits up. Nice. Sometimes we miss the mark at Fussy, and for that, we sure are sorry. We are pleased though that competitors follow us on social media, and also very proud our loyal Fussy customers who have now collectively saved over 125,000 kilograms of single-use plastic by switching to Fussy from mainstream deodorants. Here's to a better smelling planet, Matt. And the context there is Fussy basically created a spoof of Lynx on social media, and they called it Minx. It looked like Lynx, but it was the classic Lynx Africa with the red and green, but with a Fussy kind of the Fussy casing there. Obviously, one of these kind of spoof style things. He's obviously being satirical there, I would say, with what he's said.
Yeah.
And Unilever have basically come for them, and they've actually kind of
Put them to the ASA.
Yeah, put them to the ASA. The reason I wanted to bring this up, because I think it's such an interesting technique, strategy that we're seeing more and more D2C brands doing now, is like almost this idea of like cease and desist and using that to really drive marketing efforts.
Like controversy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like we saw it with Surreal. They did the Michael Jordan.
That isn't Michael Jordan.
Yeah, who isn't Michael
Serena
Jordan. And they got the cease and desist there, and then they used that as marketing material. I'm seeing it now with Fussy. Do you think this is a strategy that people are purposely trying to tread in deep waters?
Probably. It's a bit of a viral moment, isn't it? It's like it's LinkedIn marketing, isn't it? Like you can't really post it that many other places, but it would just work. It's a dangerous game to play, I feel, but
what more can happen though from a cease and desist?
nothing. I don't actually think much can happen. I guess they could try to sue you, but I guess you'd have to ignore the cease and desist. I've never really been stuck in a cease and desist letter. It's worked for a few brands. I feel like it's one of those things that could come across as quite like tacky if you did it wrong.
Yeah.
Once everybody starts doing it, it'll just become like same old thing. But it's.
I know that Lux Collective did the same thing with like an LV condom on Valentine's Day, and they said we're now selling like the LV condoms, and it wasn't actually a thing. They just designed. I think it was a condom, if I'm not mistaken, and LV commented on the video saying we love this or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I think brands should do.
Yeah,
you see, like I feel like a lot of brands do it on Twitter. They interact with each other. Like KFC's quite good at it actually as a brand. Like rather than just drag it down, like use it.
Yeah.
If I was, there's surely, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but there would have been a way for Unilever to use that.
I know, just
take it.
Like you got to laugh at your own expense sometimes.
Yeah, but then I guess from a Unilever perspective, they've probably only got market share to lose to someone like Fussy, so it's a big risk.
Yeah,
giving them a platform of that size. But
yeah, I mean, you look at like obviously the goats, Ryanair, just honestly they're
respect.
I just sometimes just go through their TikTok and I don't even watch the videos. I just look at their comment replies. They're hilarious. Just like one I saw the other day was someone saying, I'm flying with you guys next week. I'm flying with you guys next week, can't wait. And they just replied, no one cares, Zoe. Just like they just take the piss out of everyone. I love it.
Funny.
Nice. All right, we'll round up there. Pretty good first episode.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I hope everyone else did. I guess it would be great to get any feedback from people in the comments, things they want to talk about, what
people
we can do better. People they want on.
Within reason. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed the first episode. You can find us on obviously Spotify, D2C Diaries, YouTube as well. We'll put everything down below. But yeah, if you enjoyed this, give it a like, share. Any questions, let us know. And yeah, we'll see you on the next episode.